18 people dead. That's the amount of people that die each day from waiting for a transplanted organ. Every 10 minutes. That's the amount of minutes that a new patient is added to the transplant registry. 1,200 is the amount of people waiting on the organ donor registry today. Out of 3,000 people ages from 18 to 34 in 2012 died from not getting an organ donation. So, and there was 3,000 of them total, so only 1/3 of them actually got donations, and that's from the U.S. Department of Health. There's an organ shortages here in the United States, and something needs to be done about it. Innocent people die each day, and almost 500 people die each month due to not being able to receive a transplant. I hope that after my speech, you will think about organ donations and take the step to become a donor. Right now, there are more than enough people waiting for an organ to fill up a large football stadium twice over. And I have a graph here that shows the amount of people waiting on the list and the amount of transplants people actually get in the donors. And as you can see from the list, the donors are way lower than how many people that need a transplant and how many people are on the list.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. You want paper? And this graph I got from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. The Ohio Department of Health states that a major problem is obtaining enough organs for the growing number of Americans needing them. There are thousands of Americans waiting for organs to become available so they have a second chance at life. Sadly, there are approximately 500 names added to the waiting list each month, and there's not enough organ donors to meet the growing need, resulting in the deaths of 18 men, women, or children each day. I believe more people need to get involved and sign up to become organ donors to decrease the number on the waiting list. Anyone of any age can become an organ donor. From a newborn to a senior citizen, all have become organ donors, as stated in the Office of Women's Health. Through organ donation, up to 8 lives can be saved, and you can enhance many more through tissue donation, according to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. By donating organs and tissues to a transplant patient, it provides a second chance of life. And I actually have a story that I got off of Transplant Living, and it's of a girl named Nicole Brewer. And she stated that when she was 21 years old, she found out that she had lupus. And basically, it attacks your immune system and your joints. And she said that she basically had to wait on the list for 8 years because she needed to get lung transplants because she ended up with pulmonary hypertension, and she ended up, the lupus got switched to mixed connective tissue disorder, which the pulmonary hypertension increased her blood pressure in her arteries and her lungs, and then it can lead to heart failure. So since it affected her heart and her lungs, she needed to make sure that she got lung transplant and maybe needed a heart transplant. So she waited for 8 years to get her transplant, and finally she ended up getting her transplant. Well, 5 years after that, she was diagnosed with chronic rejection. So basically, she waited for 8 years and only had the transplant for 5 years, and now she's already had rejection. And she said that she didn't know what the future holds, but she's not sad. She's blessed to have the 5 years because it's these 5 years. And she said, I've been able to really open my eyes to the world. I've been able to work on changing myself and my heart and to experience a whole lot in a different way. I have met 3 new nephews and a new niece along the way. I wouldn't change a thing. Faith plays a huge role in my life, and that's how I keep going and living and keep hoping. I am forever grateful for the pair of lungs I've received, the donor who gave his or her life to keep me alive and give me a second chance. So that's her story. You have an amazing opportunity to be one of the individuals that make a miracle of life happen. It is very easy to become an organ donor. You can either do it right at your BMV whenever you renew your license, because they ask you if you want to be an organ donor or if you already have it, if you want to keep your status as an organ donor. Or you can go to the U.S. Department of Health website at www.organdonor.gov. And also on your license, if you decide to become an organ donor, they put something in the bottom that says organ donor, and then it has for the state of Ohio, so you're an organ donor. By choosing to become an organ donor, you're giving a gift of life and hope to thousands of people waiting for an organ transplant, and hope for millions of people whose lives could be enhanced through tissue transplants, as stated by the organ donor website. And some people may think, like, they may have they don't want to donate their organs because of certain reasons. And some of the certain reasons that people don't want to donate their organs, which I got off the mayoclinic.com, and these are myths. It says people think that if they want to be an organ donor, that whenever you go to the hospital, if you're very sick or you get hurt really bad in a car accident, that hospital staff won't try to save your life because they see that you're an organ donor and they want to take your organs or something like that. And that's technically not true. And it says when you go to the hospital for treatments, doctors focus on saving your life, not someone else's. And you're being seen by a doctor who specifically most closely matches your particular emergency. So they're going to let you live and they're going to try to save you. Another myth about organ donation is people think that it might be against their religion. And I thought this was kind of interesting that organ donation basically is okay across like mostly all religions. And it's consistent with the beliefs of most major religions. This includes Roman Catholics, Islam, most branches of Judaism, and most Protestant faiths. And it says if you're unsure or uncomfortable about your faith, then you can ask your clergy. And other people think an open casket funeral, if you have organ donations, it might make you look disfigured, so you don't want an open casket. Well, that's not true at all either. Organ and tissue donation doesn't interfere with having an open casket funeral. The donor's body is clothed for burial, so there's no visible signs of organ or tissue donation. For bone donation, a rod is inserted where the bone is removed, and with skin donation, a very thin layer of skin, similar to a sunburn peel, is taken from the donor's back. So the person's laying on their back anyway, so you can't even see that they donated skin. And people think maybe they're not in good health, but that's honestly up to the doctors to decide. And people think of age, maybe you're getting older, so I shouldn't donate organs because my organs are 80 years old compared to someone that's younger. Well, that's not true either. Anyone of any age can donate organs. It doesn't matter. And these are all myths, and anyone can donate, like I said. Wouldn't you like to give hope and a second chance of life to someone in dire need? By becoming an organ donor, you do just that. God has always put us first and thinks about us always. He wants us to help others as he would help us. Think about becoming an organ donor, then register to become one. Help save precious lives. Thank you.